Hi Year 9, for your second lesson this week, I'm going to be creating unusual backgrounds using everyday items such as the coffee here. I've just got that mixed with a little bit of water, some food colour. You may need a straw. If you do have a spray bottle at hand, that would be good. And if you do have some watercolours, you could use those, although you could use the food colour or the coffee for the same technique. In a bowl I've just got some watercolour and I've got some water at hand. So I'm going to start off first of all just showing you one technique that I used was pre-made a background. I'm going to draw on that later. I'm giving time for it to dry. Another way that you could do this work is by sketching out some shapes. I've been using a milk jug or a steaming jug. And I just sketch out some different compositions using a line drawing. Okay, now using the coffee, you could create a background where you apply the coffee just as a wash over the background. I've created a bit more of an abstract effect where I've sort of made the coffee go as if it's kind of spilt over the page with some drip marks, and I'm using a circle lid from something to then dip in the coffee and spread across the page as if a coffee mug has sort of dripped across. That relates to what the objects in which I'm drawn, because it's a milk jug or a milk steamer and a attachment from a coffee machine. You could also use quite a wide brush and use the coffee just as a wash over the top. And you could use, if you have a spray bottle, put either the coffee or the food colour in the spray bottle and just lightly spray to create a kind of speckled background. I'm just going to put these to one side to allow them to fully dry before I draw over the top of them. Another tip, if you just dab a little bit of kitchen paper on them, that can help them dry, or dry them with a hairdryer. The next task, if you pour some food colour into the lid of the food colour first of all and just drip a small amount onto a page, you can use your straw. Use your straw quite horizontally to then blow the ink, or blow the food colour, should I say, across the page to create quite an abstract, unusual pattern. You could use multiple colours, you could use layers of colours, but when you start drawing over the top of this, you must make sure it's completely dry. I'm just going to put that to one side to draw over it later on in this video. Okay, I've just got some plain paper here, and I'm just going to make a watercolour wash here. If you don't have watercolour, you could use the coffee or you could use the food colour. I'm just using the water to paint a very small amount of water across the page to create a glaze, so it should be a shiny surface, not puddles of water. And then I'm using the watercolour, adding the colour into the glazed surface. Now you really want light colours with this because you want to be able to draw over the top. Depending on which way you apply the paint with the brush, in long sweeps or strokes or dabs, you can create different effects. The paint will bleed into the water that's already on the surface and it can create some nice effects. A little tip at this stage, if you put some table salt on there and allow it to dry, that also creates an interesting effect. I just didn't have any table salt at hand while I'm working, but if you put table salt on it, it can create an interesting effect. You can also use your brush really dry, so if you dip it in water and then just dry it on your hand and make sure the bristles are kind of sort of messy in their way, you can then dip in the watercolour and very lightly sweep across the page, and this dry brush effect can also be really quite nice. Again, make sure you use light colours though. The whole of the page shouldn't be a solid block of dark colour. I'm just going to put that to one side to dry. There's a lot of preparation with this lesson. I've got the bit of paper that I created earlier with the coffee kind of stain on it and also the sprayed effect. Now I'm just drawing a steaming jug from a coffee machine. I'm just sketching that out and then drawing using fine liner over the top. The surface is completely dry, so it's fine to work over the top. Okay, so you can use these, you can create your backgrounds beforehand, so you've got a range of different backgrounds, then draw over the top, or if you find it more useful, sketch out some objects using pencil, work over the top with the coffee, the food colour or watercolour, allow them to dry, and then work back into them with the fine liner. I think the fine liner is good to use this lesson, or biro pen if you don't have a fine liner, because sometimes in pencil, with having the backgrounds, the pencil doesn't show up as good. So just create some simple line drawings. If you want to add some shading, you can using the cross contour lines, or if you want to use other marks, that would be great. Here's a range of drawings again, the splashed ink effect and the coffee. All of those is what I've worked on previously, sketched out in pencil, put the coffee on, and then I've worked over the top in fine liner. And those are all the backgrounds and different techniques that I use this lesson. Here I've got the watercolour background that I created earlier in the video. I've allowed it to dry, and I'm just going to draw the attachment for the coffee machine on here. I've very, very lightly started to sketch it out. I'm just going to add more detail throughout this video and then work over the top with fine liner. So just to recap, today you are going to create two different surfaces to draw on. Yesterday you created two different surfaces but with collage. Today you're creating the surfaces with types of ink, and that can be normal coffee, just instant coffee mixed with water, food colour, and if you don't have food colour you could use soy sauce. Yes, soy sauce can work. Then you are going to be drawing on these surfaces, and there's two different ways. You can sketch out first, then create the background, allow it to dry, work over the top with fine liner, or you can create your surfaces, allow them to dry, and then draw on them, whichever you feel comfortable with. In this lesson, you really need to think about colour. Okay, so when you're using the food colour or when you're using the watercolour, think about what colours you could use that are relevant to your project. Do you want to use warm colours? Do you want to use cool colours? Is there a colour that directly links to the object that you're drawing? In my case, the coffee was the best thing that related to what I was drawing because I was using sections from a coffee machine. I would have liked to have worked more with the coffee. I just wanted to show you today a range of different techniques. I used the red or the pink here because I wanted those warm colours. I wanted to suggest the warmth of the coffee. Again, if you don't have watercolours, you can use instant coffee mixed with water, you can use soy sauce, or you can use food colour. With the food colour, watercolour or coffee, while it's still wet, if you sprinkle table salt on, the salt dissolves onto the surface, creating an interesting pattern. You can use dry brushwork, you can use a wash, you can use that more abstract effect, whereas if the coffee is spilled across the page, leaving drip marks. But either way, I would highly recommend leaving these to fully dry before drawing over the top of them, and using a hairdryer is good. Putting them next to an open window, or if there's particularly wet areas, if you just lie a piece of kitchen paper over the top and that'll soak up anything on the surface and it will help it dry faster. So if you now go to the kitchen and source the things that you need, and you will need to create two different surfaces or more to draw on. Me, Miss Kester and Miss Horsey will really look forward to seeing the work from this week. So we should have some collage backgrounds and prepared backgrounds with ink, with drawings over the top of your everyday items that you have chosen to draw, using pencil, fine liner and biro pen. Okay, I'm going to let you watch the rest of this clip and see the finished result. And I will look forward to seeing you work this week. Well done, Year 9. So here's all the work from this lesson that I've created using a range of backgrounds and drawing over the top. Good luck, Year 9.